Hello, welcome to class. My name is Samuel from Royal Tutors. Today we are going to go through GCSE filtered questions. Filtered questions talking about questions that have 4 marks, 5 marks, or maybe 6 marks in GCSE exams. Usually we have about 5 of them in every paper of minimum. Sometimes we have more, or about 5 questions are filtered question in every GCSE paper. And today we want to go through 5 filtered questions from Edexcel Foundation. Yeah, Edexcel Foundation. All right, let's get started. So the first question says that the diagram shows quadrilateral ABCD with each of its sides extended. So they said AB is equal to AD. Show that ABCD is a kite. So we want to show that ABCD is a kite. The first thing is for us to identify the things that we have. The first thing is we have that ABCD is a quadrilateral. All right, we have ABCD is a quadrilateral. Let me just put ABCD here. We have AB is equal to AD, right? What other thing do we have? We want to show that ABCD is a kite. Quickly looking at a kite, some of the properties we have in a kite is that um, two sides. Okay, let me just draw a kite out. So you have something this way, right? So usually for every kite, this side is equal to this side. This side is also equal to this side. Then this angle is always equal to this angle. So all we need to do is to show that angle D is equal to angle B. All right, we can find angle D. Let's start from there. Angle ADC, angle ADC, speaking of this angle, the angle ADC plus 75 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. It is important that you put the reason for this, which is angles on a straight line, they add up to 180 degrees. So you can just put angles on a straight line. Now, if ADC had to 75 gives us 180 degrees, then that means angle ADC is going to be equal to 180 degrees taken with 75, and that gives us 105 degrees. So that means I can come back here, say this side is 105 degrees. At the same time, I can see that angle, okay, I can see that angle BCD is equal to 50 degrees. Why? That is what we call vertically opposite angles are equal. Vertically opposite angles are equal. All right. This means that this angle is 50 degrees. Remember, they gave us a point that ABCD is a quadrilateral. And we know for sure that for every quadrilateral, if you add together the angles in every quadrilateral, it's supposed to give us 360 degrees. So you have 100 degrees plus 105 degrees. I'm adding together the angles in the quadrilateral now, plus 50 degrees, then plus ABD or ABC now, ABC, it's supposed to give me 360 degrees. Why? Angles in a quadrilateral. All right. Please take notes that I did not assume that they are equal because as far as I'm concerned, I do not know whether or not this shape is a kite. They want me to show that it's a kite. Please don't make that mistake. Don't assume what you are to show, right? They want me to show that it's a kite. I am not to assume that it's a kite. What I'm doing is I'm working with the fact that I have to prove that it's a kite. So I started from, okay, I can find angle ADC, that's angle on a straight line, which is a fact from trigonometry, got 105. Then 50 degrees, which is vertically opposite angle, another fact from trigonometry. Then at the beginning of the question, I was told that quadrilateral ABCD is a quadrilateral. They said is a quadrilateral. The shape is a quadrilateral, which means that from what I know of the property of quadrilateral, angles should be added to 360. I mean, they should be added up to 360. That's the same thing I did. So from there, I will get the value of my ABC to be equal to 105. So that means you add 100, 105, and 50. That gives you 255. Then take it away from 360. So if you take it away from 360, you get 105. So this shows that this is 105, which means that ABC is equal to ADC. This is what I need to prove that that is a kite. Don't forget, I told you in property of kites, you have those opposite angles equal to themselves. So my conclusion will be that ABC is equal to ADC equal to 105 degrees. Full stop. This shows that. So this shows that ABCD is a kite. And that is it. So the box is just to say that I have shown the required. So for this question now, I think it should be around 4 marks here. So this is a 4 marks question. Please make sure you write out the reason for everything you do. It is highly important. If you don't put reasons there, you lose marks. Sometimes you lose half mark, sometimes you lose 1 mark. So make sure the reasons are there. So let's go to the next question. This is another question. This is a 4 marks question as well. Let's see. Food Mart and Jan's stores, okay, sells boxes of the same type of breakfast cereal, right? Each shop has a special offer, 400 grams. That is 20% off the normal price of £5, okay? 400 grams plus 30% extra for £5. So which box of cereal is the better value for money? You see questions like this a lot in GCSE where they use the word better value for money. And most times, students find it difficult to be able to interpret that statement. So what it means for better value for money is that if I bring the same amount and I take the same amount to the 2 shops, where am I going to get a better value? All right. So what I want to do is for the first one, I want to see how much am I going to get a 400 grams in food mart. So let's start with food mart. So at food mart, uh, I have 400 grams was sold 20% off the normal price. So normal price is £5. Sales price, which is how much the product was sold after the discount, is going to be 20% off. 20% off. So all I need to do is I need to find 20% of 5. 20% of 5 is 20 over 100 of 5, which is going to give me 1. So I take that off, and that gives me £4. So that means I got 400 grams at Food Mart. I got 400 grams at £4. So what I want to do is I want to check how many grams am I going to get for £1 in each shop. So if I could get 400 pounds for 400 grams for £4 in Food Mart, that means if I divide both sides by 1, I should be able to get by 4, I should be able to get 100 grams for £1 at Food Mart. All right. So the value is that £1 could only buy me 100 grams at Food Mart. So let's see how about Jan's store. So let's see Jan's store. So for Jan's store, we have the same 400 grams, but this time we get 30% extra, not in terms of money, but in terms of value. So that means let me check the 30% extra firstly. So 30% extra is going to be 30% of 400 plus the original value, which is 400. So if you do 30% of 400, you're going to get 120 then plus 400. You can check our video on percentage if you want to learn how to do that. So if you add them together, you have 520 grams. That means at Jan's store, I'm going to have 520 grams for £5. So let me bring that here, 520 grams for £5 at Jan's store. So the same way I did for Food Mart, I want to get what I will have for £1. That is dividing both sides by 5. So I have 104 grams. Looking at it, At Food Mart, I'm going to get 100 grams for one pan, but at Jan store, I'm going to get 104 grams for one pan. This means that the store that gives me the better value for money is Jan store. So your conclusion is going to be that Jan store gives better value for money. So that's clear. Since you have 104 grams for one pan at Jan store and you have 100 grams for one pan at Food Mart, that means that Jan store surely gives the better value for money. All right, let's move to the next one. Okay, this looks interesting. This is 4 marks as well. We have the diagram shows a square ABCD with sides of length 20 centimeters. It also shows a semicircle and half of a circle. This look interesting. Many students sometimes when they see shapes like this where we have a lot of things being juggled together, they lose the interest right from the beginning. So I will tell you that whatever way the question is being set, make sure that you read it. Even if you have about 1,000 things being said in the same question, don't get discouraged. Don't stop along the way. Make sure you check each things and understand what they mean. So what they're actually saying is trying to tell me about the shape that I have in front of me. So the shape has a square, it has a semicircle, and then it has an arc, a circle. Yeah. So they said AB is diameter of the semicircle, and then AC is the arc of a circle with center B. Good. Show that area of shaded region divided by area of square equals pi. So we need to find area shaded. We need to find area of square. So if you want to look at this shape closely, you will see for me to get area shaded, I have two shapes. So I have this, which is mentioned to be the arc. However, it is a quadrant. A quadrant, that is that is whenever you divide a circle into 4 parts, what you get is a quadrant. So that ABC that I joined together now is a quadrant. Then the semicircle is here. So this means if I find the area of the quadrant and I take away the area of the semicircle, I'm going to get the area shaded. Let me say that again. If I find the area of the quadrant and I take away the area of the semicircle, then I'm going to get the area shaded. So let me just do that. So area shaded now. Area shaded is going to be equal to area of quadrant minus area of semicircle. Now, I want you to note something. Area of quadrant. The quadrant does not share the same diameter with the semicircle. As a matter of fact, for the quadrant, the radius is the diameter of the semicircle. So I'm not going to write their formula as the same. So I'm going to write area of quadrant, that is area of a circle, divided by 4. And then area of semicircle will be area of a circle divided by 2. You see, I decided to choose different R. One is a big R, a capital R, right? The other one is lowercase. So you have this way. So I have pi. The radius of the quadrant is 20. While the radius of the semicircle is going to be 20 divided by 2. 20 is the diameter of the semicircle. You can see that here. This is the diameter of the semicircle. That's 20. So half of it, that will be 10. So if we continue with this, you should have, for this one, it should give you pi into 400 over 4 minus pi into 100 over 2. That gives 100 pi minus 50 pi, which gives us 50 pi. That means area shaded is 50 pi. So let's get the area of the square as area of square. So normally area of square is L square, the length of the square multiplied by itself. So looking at it, the length of the square is 20 centimeters. So that will be 20 multiplied by itself. And this gives us 400. So let's go back to the ratio now. They want us to show that area of shaded region divided by area of square equals, so let's take it area shaded where we have 50 pi, then 400, and that gives us pi over 8. All right, pi over 8, then we have our format. All right, let's move on to number 17. Number 17 is a 5 marks question. 5 marks question. It might look as simple as it looks, but sometimes some students find it difficult. So we have 80 people who are asked if they like coffee, 48. Now we need to, for this kind of question, we advise that it is not a law, but we advise that read the question entirely firstly before you start to fill the table. Before you fill the tree, read the question entirely, then go back to it and start to fill the tree. So what I'm saying is you have 48 of these people are women, 61 of the 80 people like coffee, 8 of the men do not like coffee. Good. Now let's fill the tree. 80 people are asked if they like coffee, so that's 80 here. 48 of these people are women, so we have 48 women. So the question is, if we have 48 women out of 80, then we should have 80 minus 48 as the number of men. And if you do 80 minus 48, that should give us 32. So that means we have 32 men. Then 61 of the 80 people like coffee. 61 of them like coffee. So that means the number of men plus the number of women who like coffee is 81. So let's see. 8 of men do not like coffee. 8 of men do not like coffee. 8 of men do not like coffee. So let's fill that up. 8 of men do not like coffee. So let's see. Do not like coffee. We have 8 of them. Good. If 8 of men do not like coffee and we have 32 men, that means if you do 32 minus 8, it should give us the number of men that like coffee. And that should be 24. So that means 24 men like coffee. Good. So if 24 men like coffee and they told us that 61 people out of the 80 people like coffee, so that means we can do 61 take away 24 to get the number of women that like coffee. So if you do 61 take away 24, that should give us 37. Right? So 37 of them like coffee out of 48 women. And that's telling us that 11 women do not like coffee. All right? So let's see. 24 plus 8 is 32. Good. 37 plus 11 is 48. Good. 37 plus 31 is 61. Good. I'm just trying to reconfirm what I've filled on the table. Then 32 plus 48 is 80. Perfect. So they said find the probability that this person is a woman. Now, this B question, we always have this kind of question when we have a tree like that. You have a follow-up question, and people sometimes get it wrong. The most important part of this question, I tell you, is this part. This is the most important part of the question, not even the probability you are looking for. The basis on which you are finding the probability is the most important. They will define it. Are they picking from the number of people who like coffee? Are they picking from the total number of people? This one says one of the people who like coffee is chosen at random, not one of the 80 people. Please take note. This is not one of the 80 people, just one of the people who like coffee. One of them is chosen at random. So if one of the people who like coffee is chosen at random, then your basis of probability is based on those who like coffee. So let's see now. Is there probability that this person is a woman? So the probability that this person is a woman will be number of women. How many women? Now, not all women, because this is on the basis of who like coffee. So that should be how many women like coffee divided by how many people like coffee. And that will be it. 37 out of 61. Take note, this is not 48 out of 8, because we are not saying that a woman out of all of the people. He said out of those who like coffee, how many of these, when probability that this person is a woman. So check how many women like coffee. That's 37 divided by how many people are in the coffee class. So that's 61. All right, so let's see. The last question says Amina has 2 bags. In the first bag, there are 3 red balls and 7 green balls. In the second bag, there are 5 red balls and 4 green balls. Amina takes at random a ball from the bag. She then takes a random ball from the second bag, and then we have this tree. It says walk out. Okay, let's feed the tree firstly. All right. She has 2 bags. Okay, in the first bag, She has 3 reds and 7 green. So 3 red and 7 green. So the probability of green will be number of green over the total number of balls. So in the first, that's first bag. In first bag, we have 3 red and 7 green. So that's 10 balls in total. Then moving to the second bag, take note the selection in the first bag is not affecting what you have in the second bag. They are not dependent, all right? So it says in the second bag, we have this. So if we have 5 red and 4 green, so that means 5 out of 9 will be red, then 4, that will be number of green over 9. That's for the probability of green, number of green over the total number in the bag. Then if you look at the second one as well, red will be number of red over total number of balls in the bag, number of green over total number of balls in the bag. That's it. Work out the probability that Hamina has 2 red balls. So in this case, we're not given the general base. So you take the general base as just general, right? Since we have 2 different things here, they might not give it to us. It says work out the probability that Hamina takes 2 red balls. So probability Hamina takes 2 red balls. All right, that's going to be equal to probability of Hamina taking red ball in the first bag, this first bag, and Amina picking red as well in the second bag. All right, so Amina picking red in the first bag and Amina picking red in the second bag. So let's see for the first one. Amina picking red in the first one is 3 out of 10. In probability, whenever you have the word and, it is multiplication. In contrast, we have or. When you say or, it is addition. When you say and, it is multiplication. Then red in the second bag, that's 5 out of 9. So if you do the multiplication, you have 3 out of 10 to multiply 5 out of 9. That gives you 15 out of 90. And that should be 1 out of 6. So the probability required is 1 out of 6. And that's it. So we're going to stop here for today. This is also a 4 marks question. I want you to please subscribe, like, so that you can have more updates on GCSE questions. We are going to solve nothing less than 500 GCSE filtered questions. Yeah, across all level, whether foundation or higher, Edexcel, AQA, OCR, Educas, a lot of them. So stay tuned so that you can have a lot to prepare for your exam. These filtered questions, they are not found in textbooks. They are only seen in past papers. And this is why it is important for us to also go through them as well. Thank you so much. We're going to stop here and then see you next time. Bye.